Hey, welcome to your next best step with Brek Cockrell, the locker room for purpose-driven leaders. This is where we slow down, reflect, and we take our next best step through real stories, practical strategies, and rooted leadership wisdom. Thank you so much for tuning in, and remember, even the best leaders need a coach in their corner.
Well, welcome to today's episode, your Next Best Step podcast, The Leaders Locker Room. I'm your guide, BC, and so glad that you're with us today. I'm excited about who we've got in the locker room today. Talk about appropriate for having somebody in the locker room. Man, this dude is born and raised and is from the Below. No stranger to showing up and making things happen. We got Carlos V. Spencer, known as the Vision Producer, is a transformational speaker, coach, author, and honestly, one of those dudes that when he walks into any room, you know he has showed up in all the good ways, I should say. Carlos is a UB grad who captained the Division I football team, and from there, he's worn just about every hat you can think of. He served as a New York State trooper. And get this, I did a little background. He was the first African-American speaker invited to address the New York State Police Academy. He's led youth programs as a Boys and Girls Club director, a longtime corporate trainer, keynote speaker for over 15 years, and just a host of other things. He's the author of Flip the Switch, Let's Go, Let's Grow, Let's Get It, a book about activating the untapped power that's already inside of you. He's also written, directed, produced more than 10 full musical productions. I've seen these. Written and directed the movie Life Happens, created the live improv show A Night Out with Grace and Mercy. And a lot of laughs. I remember those. Those were incredible. Carlos's whole thing lines up with what we talk about here in the locker room, the idea that what we need is already inside of us. And sometimes it's a matter of flipping the switch and taking your next best step. I'm pumped about this conversation. Carlos, welcome to the locker room, brother.
Man, thank you for having me. You dug deep. You dug deep with some stuff there. Like,
yeah, man.
Who's he talking about?
Yeah.
Oh, man. Yeah, we'll break into some sports stuff that sometimes I hear my sports resume and I'm like, who is that?
Yeah.
When I hear stuff like that, I really believe that God gave me a lot of those things to be able to relate to people, man. But I'm excited to be here, man. I've been watching it from the sideline. I've been watching some of the interviews. I've been enjoying it and your journey, man. So I'm honored to be here.
Well, man, we've got we just chopped it up over a nice cigar just a while back.
Yeah.
And reminisced a little bit. We've got a good history between you and the brothers and your younger brother Julius, and man, dude, when it just kind of feels like your family, and I appreciate you coming on here. You're also currently one of my strength and conditioning and health coaches at Next Level, which is awesome. And I think I'm on. I got a goal. I don't know that I've shared this on the podcast. So
okay.
I knew that the beginning of the year, I knew I needed to like change up just my activity. And so I've been seeing Next Level. I've been seeing you post things, other people, Jamil, our buddy Jamil posted it. And I'm like, dang it, I gotta get into that thing. And so started the first week of January. My goal is to get 150 workouts in 2026.
That's cool.
And so that's 3 a week and 2 weeks off for vacay, right? And so I remember I walked in that first day, and man, you had me like, oh my gosh. And then, I had 1 and then I had 2. And when you're looking at it at like 1, 2, 3, 150 seems like it's so far.
Yeah.
Like I'm never going to get there. But now we're heading at the end of March, so 3 months. So I think I'm at I think I just did my 30th workout yesterday with Coach Lou.
That's impressive. That's impressive.
I'm like, okay. And what you guys said all the time, that the consistency is the cheat code.
That's it, man. That's it. That's it. I tell people all the time, like I've been working out 20, almost 30 years, and I'm not in the gym. I worked out today. Like I trained two classes, 5:30 in the morning, 6:30 in the morning. I went and worked out from 10 to 11. Like I'm there for an hour, 45 minutes. Rarely am I there over an hour, but rarely do I miss 3 to 4 workouts a week. I'm just consistent. Like that's the key. Is the true key. You don't need to be in there for 3 and 4 hours. Some people do. Maybe that's their profession, but for me, consistently 3 times a week, sometimes four, even sometimes five. That's the key. That is the true key there.
Yeah, man, I could tell a huge difference in just my core
Hmm.
strength. I got lots of arthritis. You and I, we played some ball back in the day.
Hmm.
You know, it started to catch up with me in all my joints and all the places. And so, man, I'm glad. It's about a 45-minute workout, and
Hmm.
I dread going over there. I don't like seeing that yellow door when I pull up, but I'm
Yeah.
always glad I did when I walk out.
That's it, man. And I heard rumor has it that someone asked you before to sign the board, and you said, "No, man, I don't sign it until I leave out." And I
Yeah,
absolutely love that. I love it.
because
I
you
love
got
it.
the coaches that are like, don't forget at the beginning, sign that thing. I said, I'm not signing it till I'm done.
That's it.
And
I love
it's
that.
such a good feeling to walk over there. I'm hurting. Every time I'm hurting, but I sign that thing like done.
Mhm.
Yes. Boom. Let's get
That's
out.
impressive, man. Most people don't do that, and I commend you because a lot of people, especially men, I'll
Mhm.
say you can see in this space. You don't see a lot of men in this space,
You
especially the older
know,
you get.
it is. I just
Hmm.
I'm kind of shocked by it.
Hmm.
Um, and I think, I'm not exactly sure. Well, at this point in my life, I got no ego. There's no shame in my game. Like,
Yeah, yeah.
I'm just walking in there, man.
That's it.
Like, here I am,
That's it,
So,
man. But yeah, it doesn't matter, man, whether it be boot camp classes, training classes, or even just going to the gym itself, like where it's just weights and you're doing your own thing. Like I went to an open gym today. It's going to be 70, maybe 80% women.
yeah.
It's just like that for some reason. I don't know what that is. You'll see maybe some younger guys, maybe
Yeah.
teens, maybe college age. Once you get older, you see a few, very few and far between. You see
Yeah.
men out there in that space.
Well, dude, Carlos, for those listeners who are not familiar with you, I gave a long intro. There's a lot of
Hmm.
things, but man, bring us up to speed a little bit. Tell us a little bit about your background.
Hmm.
And man, this is a leadership podcast. We're just, I love, talking with people and just getting little handles that help me. Like, I don't need a whole lot of things. Just give me one or two things that can kind of help me take my
Hmm.
next best step. And I know, man, I've just been around you. I've heard you speak. I've heard you just hang, and you've got a lot to offer people. But bring us up to speed on kind of like your background and
Hmm.
all of that for us.
For sure, man. I appreciate that. I'm a kid from the projects, man. I say that with joy on my heart and on my face because of where I am. I'm not statistically supposed to be there. That's either me or my brothers. Four of us grew up in the same household. You know, mom and dad did separate when we were younger, but four of us grew up, same mother, same father. My oldest brother's a pastor. My brother after that has uh, 3 degrees and 2 master's degrees. Myself, college graduate, first generation college student. I got my degree before my brother, and I hold that over his head every
I
single
bet you
chance that
do.
I get because he has more degrees than me, but I got mine first.
Yeah.
And then my younger brother after me, he's a college graduate as well. And just statistically, we just shouldn't be where we are. And maybe sometime later in the show, we'll get to the even next generation because now our children, not only were we able to change the statistics ourselves, we reduplicated it,
Mm.
right? It wasn't just a one-off. My oldest brother's his oldest son is 27. He's in finance, has a college degree. My next brother, his daughter just graduated last year. I have three children in college. My younger brother, his older son is in college, and all of our college age students are in college. And again, I say that to say you don't have to be subject to where you come from. And I didn't know that growing up, right? I grew up in an environment that did not produce what me and my brothers became. But I also am a person that had a loving family and a God-fearing family. My home environment didn't look like the environment that I grew up in. And I know that's a lot of the reason why I had some change in my life. So I'm an athlete, man. I played sports. A lot of it, I was godly gifted, and a lot of it was just to keep me out of trouble. Football, basketball, and track. I did that all year round. My freaking athletic resume is astounding to me, man. Like, um, it does seem crazy when I look at it. I'm talking
Yeah.
track championship, basketball championship, all-star game, football championship, MVP, Hall of Fame. I still think I hold a record at my high school. It might have been broken last year. So I'm a kid who loves sports growing up, a lot of
Now,
neighborhood
what high
sports.
school did you go to here in the B for all of our Buffalo listeners?
Yeah, so interestingly enough, and I'm gonna tie it even for the Buffalo listeners, especially for the younger generation, Buffalo Traditional.
Yeah.
My school is no longer here. It's East High School now, but Buffalo Traditional is where I went to school. Performing Arts Visual Academy is in the building where my school was. And so I played basketball and track there. My school did not have a football team, so I played football for South Park.
Mm.
That would have been the school that I went to. Yeah. So I
I
ended
didn't
up
know
playing
that.
football there.
You played for,
Yeah.
oh,
I
wow.
played for South Park, man. So back when I was in high school, if you didn't have a team like ours, you played for wherever your district was. So if
Yeah.
I went to my district school, it would have been South Park.
Mm.
So we literally had kids at our school who had jerseys on from every school.
Yeah.
Like you be in a homeroom with the guy that you're. I literally was in a homeroom with a guy who I was about to play the championship game with, one of my friends. We both had our jerseys on. So I'm a sports guy. Grew up playing tons of sports, loved it, played college sports as well. After that, I got into the space of really just helping people. So I worked at the detention center, and I'll give just a quick snapshot after that, and we can move on. I worked as a state police officer, and I would say that I just saw myself in a lot of positions where serving. I
Hmm.
just was serving people, and I've been a captain on every team that I've been on. And even as your intro said, I spoke at my graduation, so I've been in the space of serving as a leader. I've been blessed to be able to do that
Mm.
in almost everything that I've done, and I absolutely love it. So yeah, pretty snapshot of me. I've done theater, which you introduced as well. I
Yeah.
wear a lot of hats, man. I'll say this: when I stand before God, and I mean this, I want to be able to say I'm empty because I use everything you gave me.
Mm.
I will say I'm no fool. God has given me a lot of gifts. I do work hard,
Yeah.
especially in my speaking. So there was a time that I just worked on the gift,
Yeah.
but I am very gifted and God has given me some gifts. I'm humble about that, but I'm trying to use them all,
Mm.
right? I want to use everything and I want to leave it here. I don't want to take anything with me
Yeah.
once I leave here. That's the goal.
Yeah. Brene Brown, she calls that grounded confidence,
Mm, hmm
right?
hmm
Because it's rooted in hard work.
hmm
It's rooted in values. It's
Yeah.
rooted in a humble posture. It
hmm
does none of us any good to walk around, um, you know, I believe everybody's God has given some kind of gift to everybody.
Right.
It may not have been awakened yet within somebody.
hmm
It might have been repressed, but it's to me, it's been crazy in all the spaces that I've walked in, and how many times I assumed that somebody didn't have something special to give, and
Mm.
I always walk back to the car with my tail tucked between my legs. I'm like, when, BC, are you going to learn? You can't
Mm.
just, and look at somebody or the package of something, assume that they don't have something to give. And
hmm
I think that's
hmm
one of the beautiful things I think about, you know, um, we've lived here in Buffalo since 2001, so 25 years.
hmm
Can't hardly believe that.
Wow. Yeah.
But so we're not homegrown, but all of our kids have been homegrown here. But
What is your phone number? 716. That's all I want to know
yeah,
for the
we're
people.
716.
That's it, man. 716. You eat blue cheese. You're here.
Yeah,
This is
yeah,
you.
716 blue cheese.
That's it. You're Buffalone
No
here.
ranch, no
That's it.
Chiefs, no Chiefs up in here.
That's it. Come on.
It's all Bills. But one of the things that our city, you know, the the demographics of it, all of it, one of the poor cities in our country,
Hmm.
one of the, poor kind of education system, all these things that, you typically aren't proud of as a city. But I think within the city, there's grit, there's perseverance, there's
Hmm.
people neighbors, and I just think like, man, like would I have persevered if I grew up in that kind of setting? And I think
Hmm.
to your point, um, I think it causes, people to, given the right opportunity, it gives them the confidence to be able to stand up and walk out and to do some things that maybe not, I know we're from that neighborhood. I
Hmm.
know we're from that neighborhood. I know that
Yeah.
whatever, but yet we can do it. So I say
Yeah.
all that, Carlos, man, is that, all of those things that you talked about and the fact that you're confident in that, like, I think that's how we ought to live our life, right? Is
Yeah.
like, we know who we are. It's not about us.
Hmm.
God's given this. We want to steward it well,
Right. Right.
right? And leadership is a stewardship, and it's temporary. We're going to be held accountable. And I love the fact that you live that out.
Mm.
What are some things early on, uh when it comes to leadership? Was there a coach that
Mm.
kind of like tapped you on the shoulder? Like, when was it that somebody identified some leadership ability within you that tapped you on the shoulder, that called that out?
Yeah, that's interesting. And in high school, captain of almost every team, but it didn't really dawn on me at that point.
Mm,
Right. I think looking back, I think Steve Jobs said that you can never connect the dots moving forward. You can only connect the dots looking
mm,
backwards.
yeah.
So in high school, looking back, it's like, oh, wow. Okay, I can see it. But it wasn't until college, Coach Rashad Jordan, he was the University of Buffalo. He was a position coach. He was an assistant position coach. Like he wasn't even directly assistant coach. It was my freshman year. I walked on to the University of Buffalo, earned a scholarship later, but I remember my freshman year, I was walking around just talking, I think just cussing, just carrying on like a young person, right? I wasn't being like disrespectful, but just, carrying myself in a way that probably wasn't me per se, but like fitting in. He pulled me aside. My freshman year, I was a true freshman, didn't have a scholarship yet. And he said, "You can't talk like that." And
Mm,
I just kind of looked at him and he says to me, "One day you're going to be a captain of this team. So you can't carry yourself like that." And I'm like,
what?
"Okay, yeah, man." And I kind of brushed it
Wow.
off. Sophomore year, my second semester, I earned a full scholarship. By my junior year, I was a captain of that team. My senior year, I was a captain of that team as well. And again, not in that moment, but looking back, probably my junior year,
Yeah.
that's when I was like, oh, he saw something.
Mm,
He saw something in me that stood out. And what he saw, it's coming to fruition now. And that's when it really dawned on me. Yeah.
wow. Man, how powerful is that? Looking back,
Yeah.
somebody saw that in you.
Yep.
What were some early leadership lessons that, your dad was, how old was your dad when he passed?
My dad was 42 and a half when he passed. I was 19 years
He
old.
was 19.
Yeah.
So did he get a chance to see you play football in
So he
college?
did in high school, not in
High school, not
college.
in college.
Yeah.
Wow.
He passed away, and it was literally my senior year, before getting a chance to go to college. But he did see a couple of my high school games.
Yeah.
Grandfather came out, and family and friends. And honestly, strangely enough, I didn't even ask people to come to my games. Like there were times I would come home and like my siblings or my mom would be like, "Where are you coming from?" And I'm like, "Oh, I had a game today." I was just kind of nonchalant about it. I understand going through therapy
Mm,
and digging into some of my trauma as to why I did that. But I wasn't big on just even letting people know. I didn't need to see somebody, although I thought I didn't need to see somebody in the stands. I was never that kid that needed to see my father or see my family out in the stands. I just performed. I was shunning something down, and so
mm,
even to that point, my dad, he did come to some of my games, but there are probably many more he would have been at had I spoke up. My
right.
father and my family, just as a
Yeah.
whole. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we can like we've talked about that. I appreciate you sharing that therapy.
Hmm.
Like man, I think every leader needs a coach, multiple coaches, right?
Hmm.
And I think every person needs some type of therapy
Hmm.
in life,
Yeah.
be able to look back, close some trauma loops that are still operating
Hmm.
to our 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s,
Yeah. Yeah.
but we all at our most basic level, the greatest need that we have is attachment. It's to know that we're
Hmm.
loved, right?
Hmm.
And it's just kind of interesting as we kind of grow up and as we learn to kind of survive in our families and our neighborhoods.
Hmm.
We begin to like, hey, how do I need to show up? How do I need to be able to move and groove and be able to survive and to I don't even know if thrive is even in the world.
Uh-huh.
We're just trying to survive and advance.
Yeah.
It's March
Yeah.
Madness, man. Uh,
Uh-huh.
but the fact that here you are, you're in college, your dad is no longer on the scene.
Hmm.
Um, what were some things from a leadership standpoint that maybe even looking back, maybe you surprised yourself looking back, but
Hmm.
what did it mean to lead Carlos as a junior and a senior in
Hmm.
college at UB for you? What did that look like?
Yeah, it was a weight of responsibility. It never seemed too heavy, though.
Mm,
I think I definitely believe that God equips you for things that you're called for.
hmm
And so I believe for someone who that may not be their calling, it would have been a lot. So I was responsible pretty much for over 200 athletes. I remember times where coaches would come to me and say, "Okay, Carlos, fix this. Go get it together with these 200 guys." Right?
Wow.
Calling a meeting, myself and another captain, and listening to guys, and that's where I started to learn leadership. Right? I started to learn, and I
Yeah.
also saw. So my grandfather was a very instrumental part of my life. Grandfather was also our pastor for our entire life, and so there were some things that I picked up just from being around him that I didn't know that I picked up until I
Mm,
got to those places and had to use them.
mm,
Right? When you had to listen to that many different people, and you and I both know that you are not going to get one unanimous decision from 200 plus
oh,
athletes when a lot of them are A-type personalities and a lot of them are the best of the best from their city and from their state and from their town.
yeah.
I learned that leadership was something that you had to be patient with. It was definitely something that you weren't making the decision just for yourself. It was also something that you weren't making the decision for everybody. You were going to let some people down, right?
Mm.
I mean, small things like deciding on a uniform color change, right? That is almost pandemonium when you got 200 athletes who
Right.
all want the chin strap to be this color and the
Yeah.
logo to be this. And
Yeah.
we were going through all of that. And it was literally like coaches saying, "All right, Carlos, what do the guys want?" It's like,
Yeah.
okay. And so I learned to be an in-between. That's where I think I find a lot of my gifts is being that person in between leadership or somebody above me, but then I'm leading another group of people and I'm learning the mastery and the flowing and nuances of that in between space, man. And so I actually started to see that I enjoyed it too.
Mm,
I actually started to see that, wow, I enjoyed this and I'm not running from it.
yeah.
I was leaning into it. Like it never felt like something that I did not want to do. It never felt like something like, oh, I can't stand this. I don't like this.
Yeah.
It was like a welcomed challenge.
Challenge.
That's
Yeah.
what it started turning into for me. Yeah.
Wow. You know, it's interesting. I was just on a call with a leader today, and we were having this conversation of, and you mentioned it there. How do they lead well up, and how do they lead
Hmm.
well down? That in
Hmm.
between space where you're not first seat and you're not third seat. You're about maybe
Yeah.
10th seat,
Hmm.
but you still have a lot of responsibility under you. But
Hmm.
how do you lead? And I think most people spend most of their time only thinking about how to lead down, and
Hmm.
they're disappointed on those that are leading above them.
Hmm.
And I think, which that can happen, but I think we have a responsibility to own how that we can actually have influence with
Hmm.
our leadership above us,
True.
right? What would you say to the, like, even in your work, like that right there? You got coaches above you, you got players below you, but in that kind of world, but even in corporate world, that's not an easy thing to navigate,
Hmm.
but helping leaders actually think about and leading up, like
Yeah.
helping their leaders lead you better.
Yeah. 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 I think for one, and I'm gonna take it back to some true Buffalo Bills fans. All right. If they're true fans, they're gonna get lost if they're not true. All right.
Yeah.
I think showing up, working hard, I think does a good service for those who are above you. Right. I will always tell my son, my oldest son, he's 23 now. Now I'm teaching this to my younger sons. If you work hard and you're coachable, your coaches are going to find a space for you. Like me, I worked very hard. I wasn't the best athlete on my team, but I was pound for pound the strongest player. And I had the lowest body percent fat of my entire team of over 200 athletes. That's just working hard. And I did have some athletic ability, but not the best. But I believe performing and working hard, you show those who are leading you they can depend on you. And I believe you show those who are leading you that they can't let their foot off the gas. If you're leading somebody that has their foot on the gas, then you got to keep your foot on the gas as well. If you're leading somebody and somebody say I'm above somebody and I see them performing, I got to get up and go. I
Yeah.
can't sit back and relax because that person deserves for me to show up. And so
Mhm.
this is for my old school Buffalo Bills fans. So Frank Wright, number 2 quarterback from Jim Kelly, right?
Yeah.
For those who know, he was the best number 2 quarterback probably of all time.
Mm.
He wouldn't have had a career after that as well.
Yeah.
His brother, Joe Reich, was one of my coaches.
Oh, really?
He was my defensive coordinator at the University of Buffalo. He went on to coach, I believe it was Division II, somewhere in the Carolinas. He's actually an athletic director now. I interviewed him a couple years ago. We're still really close.
No kidding.
So it took me like 3 years to figure this out. Like his last name was Reich, Brek. He looked just like him. And I was like,
Huh.
one year, like 3 years later, like, hey, Coach, is Frank Wright your brother? And he laughed. He was
Yeah.
like, yeah, he is.
Wow.
So Joe Wright ends up being one of my coaches, my defensive coordinator. He brings me into a meeting one day, my junior year, and they got this whiteboard behind him. It's got names of all the athletes on this board. And it was at this point that I also figured out that we were a product, right? There were names crossed out, there were names replacing other names.
Mm.
And I said, oh, we are a product,
Mm.
and they're going to put the best product on the field to perform.
Yeah.
And it's their job to put the best product on the field. Great coaches also coach you and lead you, and they also can make the decision to put the best product on the job. Coaches who are not that well, they just make you feel like a product. So I'm sitting there to that question of showing up. And he sits me down my junior year. I'm thinking I'm in trouble or something. And he has the whole defensive scheme. I played right corner. And he said to me, Carlos, every week, we never worry about your side of the field. We're just usually trying to figure out what other things we're going to have to change on the rest of the field. And I just want to say thank you. Wow. And I'm like, wow, coach. I said, man, I appreciate that. And that stuck with me to this day.
Right.
That he recognized what I was doing. And I didn't know they saw you. They say that character is what people say about you when you're not in the room. Right. They're obviously having a conversation about me that I had no clue about. But he brought me in to tell me that how I was showing up made a difference in the whole defensive scheme. And he trusted me. And I also believe that me showing up like that, it helped those who were coaching me to depend on me and to keep pushing me as well. So I think looking back at that moment, I believe that that has something to do with coaching up, right? Something to do with leading up. At that age, I didn't know, but I've seen it now because I've oftentimes said to myself, I would want to lead somebody who's showing up like that. And am I moving in a way where I would want to lead somebody like me? Yeah.
Well, yeah. And am I the kind of leader that attracts that kind of person?
That's good.
Right.
Yeah.
Like sometimes as leaders, we get mad about, the team that we got. And we're always maybe comparing it to some other management team or some other department or whatever that is. And sometimes we have to just take a hard look in the mirror and go, how come in my wake, like a boat, like the wake of a boat, am I the kind of leader that is attractive to those other kind of those not necessarily stars, but really good people, Carlos. So I already know the answer to this. So this coach, you walk in, you think you're in trouble because that's usually what happens. You get called into the coach's office, or the manager's office or the president's office, and you're like, oh, okay. And it's not a scheduled meeting, and you're like, okay, what did we do? And the fact that he caught you doing good, did that demotivate you? Did you walk out of there going, man, I don't want to have to work, or just, of course, it's the opposite, right?
Yeah, man, I walked out of there, and again, I believe I was giving my all, but I found another gear. And I say this, and this probably pertains to leaders. It's very hard to push yourself when you don't have anybody pushing you, right? It's very hard to push yourself when you have nobody pushing you. Another example, even from the University of Buffalo, I remember just in shape, man, just in shape. I'm working hard. Let's go. I ran a 840. I think the wind was blowing very good that day behind my back, but I could run that the entire game, right? The guy who runs a 4.3, by the fourth quarter, he's running like a 4.6, 4.7, like he's done. And I always said to myself, I work so hard. When I'm tired, I know you're exhausted. So I'm beating everybody. And this kind of goes to him giving me that compliment and what it did for me. Different coach, but I'm beating everybody in the practice, and we're running suicides, backing down to the field, half, back. I'm beating everybody. I'm not even tired. I'm like, let's go. We can do 10 more. I could do this all day. And then I finish about 10 yards in front of everybody. I'm talking 200 other athletes. Finish in front of everybody. Coach blows the whistle and says, we're running again. Spencer wasn't running his hardest. I said, who are you looking at? Who are you paying attention to, coach? But I learned something right there that even though I was outperforming everybody, I wasn't pushing to the best of my own ability.
Yeah.
And I found that that's a difficulty sometimes in leadership, that it's hard to push yourself when you're already above everybody. When I left that room, it gave me another gear.
Yeah.
I said, "Oh man," I said, I'm about to find a way to step it up even more." That gave me the momentum that I needed to push myself, even when I was outperforming people already.
Yeah.
It definitely pushed me into another area that I don't even know if I would have found without that
Yeah.
compliment from him.
Man, how it's crazy to me, Carlos, and you've seen it because you're in all different kind of context. But the power of a positive word,
Hmm.
positive leadership, of catching people doing good work,
Hmm.
it ought to be something that is normal, normalized, done, but it's actually rare.
It is.
Ha- Speak to the leader who, okay, like maybe somebody's listening and they're like, man, I hardly ever, because sometimes we lead, sometimes we lead people because we were led well, like we're doing
Hmm.
for others what somebody did for us.
Hmm.
But the majority of the time, we're leading people the way that we wish
Yes.
somebody had led us.
Yes.
And just this, John Gordon, the positivity bus, all those books that he does on positivity, man, just how important it is for leaders to just take the time. I think one of the things we do as coaches, we help leaders pay attention to what they're paying attention to.
Yeah.
And if all you're paying attention to is the negative, like that's not the place you want to be paying attention to, the things that are being done well.
Hmm. Hmm.
Because there's all kinds of folks who walk into work and walk out of work, and they don't hear one positive thing. Only thing they hear is like they didn't hit their numbers, they didn't,
Hmm.
like the negativity side, and they can go a whole day without hearing somebody says, "Hey Carlos, I just want you to know we don't have to pay attention to your side of the field when we prepare for a game on Saturday."
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah.
It's powerful, man.
Yeah, it is. It is. And that's difficult to go through that explanation that you're giving for people who don't receive that. I do think you can learn from both sides of it. I don't want to minimize what somebody might be going through because that's a real thing. And
Mm-hmm.
that could definitely be tough when somebody's not patting you on the back or somebody's not complimenting the good work or the hard work that you might be doing. There's a story about these twins you may have heard, and I believe they said it's true. Their father was an alcoholic. And one of the twins, he became a doctor, and the other one became an alcoholic. And so they asked the son who became an alcoholic, like, why would you become an alcoholic? He said, what'd you expect? My dad was an alcoholic. They asked the one who became a doctor, why did you become a doctor? He said, what did you expect? My dad was an alcoholic.
Mm.
So I believe from that, and even many other lessons, you can learn from the other side. You can learn from seeing what you did not receive to actually become it. My father died when he was 42 and a half. I was 19. My children are now, my three older children are 23, 21, and 20. They're at an age where I never had a father. And
Mm.
so, to your point, I could sit back and have the excuse of I never had a father at this age. And I've even said that to my daughter. I said, babe, I'm still learning. Like, I am older than my father ever was.
Wow.
And I have children who were older than I was. So I've never even had a picture or evidence or any illustration of fatherhood in this space.
Mm.
So, again, to that point you made, I am pushing to do things that I would have wanted to have.
Mm.
Right. And one of the joys in my heart this year, man, is both of my children, they didn't even know at different times. My oldest son, he calls me probably about 6 months or so. He's crying, BC, and he's just life. And he was changing brakes. And, I told him how to change brakes. And he called me in the middle of the night. He couldn't get the caliper off and he just broke. it wasn't even the caliber, as you know. And he's like, I can't do it, Dad. This is everybody's expecting me to this, and I can't take it. And everybody's thinking, and I just let him go.
Mm.
And he's crying on the phone, and my heart's hurting, but then my heart's happy at the same time. My daughter, about months ago, after that, not even knowing her brother calls me, same thing. She's in college. Dad, you got a minute? I said, yeah. I just wanted to, and she just starts going. And my daughter's so funny. When she finishes 30 minutes later, she says, and I'm done. Crying her heart out.
Yeah.
I didn't even say this to them, but after I got off the phone for both different conversations months apart, I said, wow, I was never able to call my dad when I was 23. I couldn't call my dad at 21.
Wow.
And it did my heart well for me to show up the way I would have wanted my father to show up.
Yeah.
To listen to me, to not tell me that I wasn't doing it well, to affirm what they were dealing with, to tell them, babe, this is life and it's difficult. What you're dealing with is difficult. It is hard. And you are going to get through it because I've seen you do these things before. I've seen you do hard things. And man, I remember boohoo crying in college when I was 19 or 20 years old. And it was because of a dream I had of my father, and I grew up in tears. And there was nobody I had to call. There's nobody I could pick up the phone and call. And so I look forward to even more moments that I get the opportunity to show up in spaces where I didn't have it.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm still having those times even in my age, even now. I'm 48. My dad was 42 and a half. So I'm in rare air. Yeah.
Wow, that's powerful. What Carlos, you were a state trooper for a number of years. I remember when you stepped into that.
Yeah.
I think you told me back in the day, like I'd forgotten that I'd even applied for it, and it came back around, and
yes,
and then it showed up on my doorstep, and so you step into that. What was that experience like from a leadership standpoint? Like stepping into that kind of world, serving, but difficult to say the least. What were some things that out of that season that you took away about leadership?
Yeah. So again, even in there, I got the opportunity to apply some college things because now it's 197 of us total, right? Very similar to the college number, right? It's 196 other people that, unlike my college experience, I was one of the captains. In my New York State Police Academy, I am the president of the class. I am it. So now it's a little bit more on my shoulders because there's no other person that I'm leaning on. And very similarly, I can remember it like it was yesterday. Hey, it's a 6-month academy, paramilitary. So we're sleeping there, we're staying there, we're eating there, we're learning there. Wow. It's very high pressure, high intensity.
And how old were you then?
I am like 33, 34.
Yeah.
And a lot of the guys are younger.
Family.
I got kids, I got family. I'm away from a newborn son who's only a couple months old. And now it's me. And I remember the troopers above me. Hey, it's 4 months in, man. These guys, they don't got it together, man. You need to go fix that. And then come tell us how you fixed it. I'm like, okay. Calling a meeting, 196 A-type personalities again, Woo! Right? You tell about the A-type of the A-type.
Oh, yes.
Personality there, man. And you got different cultures, you got different backgrounds, you got different ages, you got different experiences, and everybody thinks that they're different politics. All of the stuff, man. And so there, I'm like, okay, I've done this before. And I remember saying that to myself now because I had the experience. Now, I always remember my grandmother, who my grandfather was a pastor. And I remember my grandmother telling me, she said, Carlos, your grandfather and I have used everything that we've learned in our entire life to do what we're doing now. And that never left me. And so the things I had learned before, I'm like, all right, let's bring them in here. Here we go again. We're going to do this thing. And there were things that I learned leading up to that, but there are also things that I learned in that space. I learned that you had to be strong in your decision making. When you're leading strong people, when you're leading ex-military people, when you're leading other people who had been in other police agencies for 10 and 15 years before they came to the state police.
Wow.
Like you got there was a pilot in there who flew helicopters, and he had been in the military for like 20 years. So like they're all different backgrounds. And so I did learn that you don't have to be disrespectful with it, but you got to be firm. Like I really learned to be a firm leader, to be right in hearing the majority. But at the same time, after that, some point you got to cut it. At some point, a decision has to be made, and you cannot lead in that area.
Yeah.
And you are walking around and you don't have any type of spine. I learned that firm decisions are something that are going to have to be done, and everybody's not going to like it.
Yeah, man, what a lesson to learn and to know. Like, I think one of the things that resurfaces when I'm working with leaders, managers, is sometimes there's an avoidance, right? Like one of the things that will destroy us as leaders is one of the things I just say: pay attention to what you're avoiding. Who it is, what the task, the pattern, like why are we avoiding that? Like, just ask the question: why am I avoiding this? Right?
Yeah.
So often, a lot of times it's one or two things, one or two people that we're just like, and so sometimes we try to be nice.
Yeah.
And nice in leadership is, man, that's toxic.
Yeah.
We can be kind. Brene Brown says kindness is clarity, clarity is kindness. Nice is about us. So I'm not going to confront you. I'm not going to hold you accountable.
Yes.
Because I don't want to have to get into it. I don't want you to get upset with me. So I'm going to avoid that, and I'm just going to suggest some things. Or let some things slide.
Yeah.
But to your point, like there's a space for firm leadership.
That you can't let this in the New York State Police Academy. Outside of the New Jersey Police Academy, it is the toughest academy in the United States.
Okay.
You're not going to just be nice, especially leading that. That's just, my mind is going back to it. That just ain't going to cut it. Again, not being disrespectful, but being firm. And I also learned that you have to have a willingness to do the things that you're asking people to do, and they got to know it.
Yeah.
They got to know it. When I watched The Last Dance with the Chicago Bulls, I'm a Michael Jordan fan to the day is long. I still think they can beat these Warriors that everybody want to say are good. Whatever. All right. I put my 97 Bulls up against anybody.
Anybody.
One thing I learned from watching that was that he was willing to do everything that he asked people to do. There was nothing that the other players, they said this, there was nothing that Michael Jordan asked of us that he wasn't willing to do. That's a different level. So I learned if I was asking them to do something, it had to be very clear that I was the top of the class in my physical fit. I was towards the top of the class in the classroom. Like I couldn't ask you of something that I wasn't willing to do. Now, this is an extreme example. All right, BC, I'm gonna give you an extreme example because I want leaders to take this and run with this and think, oh, I got to do that to be a leader. That's what he said. No. So in the police academy, we got pepper sprayed and we got tasered. Two of the worst things that you ever want to go through. But you got to be able to, let's talk about leadership. You got to be able to sit on the stand in court and testify that you know what it feels like to go through what you're about to put somebody else through. So if you
Mm.
tase somebody else, you got to be able to say, I understand and I went through it. If you pepper spray somebody, you got to be able to explain, back in my New York State Police Academy on this date and this time, I was pepper sprayed, so I know what it's like. So with the taser, they give you a 1 second tase, or they give you what they call you the full ride. Right. The full
Full ride.
the full ride. So the taser, any of my police
Oh,
people watching, they know what I'm talking about. The 1 second is they lay you down and they attach this thing to you and they pull the trigger for 1 second. And you, and the women would never scream like the men. That's a whole nother conversation. Like the men were squealing like little cats. The
yeah.
women were taking it. But they asked for volunteers to take the full ride. Everybody had to take the 1 second. Everybody had to. But you had to volunteer to
Come
take the
on.
full ride because they wanted to demonstrate the
Come
full
on.
ride to
Come
the
on.
entire academy. Guess who volunteered? I said, if we're going to do this,
Yeah.
then let's do this.
Mm.
They held me up, shot the thing into my back, 3 prongs, and it feels like a sledgehammer. It feels like a sledgehammer hits you in your back, and it feels like the pain stays for 5 seconds. And
Oh,
they hold you up because you'll fall to the ground if you don't do it. I bring it up again. That's an extreme example,
yeah.
but I bring that up to say, like, everybody, they saw me do that. And they're like, look, man, we'll follow him. Not just because of that thing, but they saw me do hard things. They saw
Mm.
me on honors PT. They saw me working. They saw all the things. So again, in leadership, I do believe that you got to be willing to do it,
Mm.
and that the people you're leading have to know that you're not asking me to do something that you're not willing to do yourself.
Yeah. Dude, it's hard for me not to think about that as an illustration about what Jesus did for us when
Listen,
he took the full ride, didn't he?
full ride.
And golly, dude, man, that's I man, what a story. I love
I
that.
don't think I ever told that anywhere else, man. This is the first one
And
in BC.
well, man, I appreciate you doing that because I think, man, I just thinking back and a lot of times leaders get promoted into leadership because they were good producers. That the role that they played, they were good salesmen, they were good on the phone, they were good that technically they were really proficient, right? And so like, well, hey, they're good producers. They perform well. Like, so a lot of times leaders get promoted to another level of leadership, but they see it and they accept it because, well, it's a promotion. Who doesn't want a
Mm-hmm.
promotion? And hopefully there's a little pay bump, and like who doesn't want to get paid a little bit more? But what they don't totally understand till they get into that seat is the power and the role of actually leading people.
Mm-hmm.
And so, and there's so few, I think, organizations and like they want to manage people
Mm-hmm.
like they manage their systems and processes. But
Mm-hmm.
you and
Mm-hmm.
I've talked about this. You don't manage people, you lead people. You
Mm-hmm.
manage systems. And when you think about, like, it's hard to lead people. It's hard to lead ourselves, much less people.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes we want to take the shortcut and just
Mm-hmm.
kind of like, but when you think about it in those terms, like, man, are you going to do the 1 second? Or are you going to take the full ride?
Mm-hmm.
To actually think about the role as a leader, like we got to be all in.
Mm-hmm.
It's like because we're for people, we value people, um, so we bring value to them. But man, I think sometimes and it's exhausting, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's tiring. It's like, why do I have to? Why can't they just get it right? Why can't they just get it done? But I love that example that you gave. Like, man, just the willingness to actually, if we want to be a great leader,
Hmm.
Like there's always work. There's no destination on the leadership. Like there's no
Hmm.
mountain of leadership. It's like we're just always on that journey.
Hmm.
And that's such a great challenge to think about that. Man, thank you for sharing that. What are some things just kind of where you're in the space that you're at now? I mean, you do I mean you're working up in Niagara Falls. You're working with, um, a whole host of different contexts of leadership and development.
Hmm.
What are you kind of seeing in your space right now where there's a gap where you're just like helping people take that next best step in just maybe how they how their think their mindsets. I mean, uh let's go, let's grow, let's get it. Like that's a mindset.
Hmm.
Um
Hmm.
where are you seeing the gaps and where are you kind of stepping in helping people with that?
Yeah, one of the biggest things I'm seeing is that people's minds are in their own way. That's
Mm,
one of the biggest things I'm seeing, and I can spot it. I've been doing this probably full time for about 2 years now. Right? I've been working my life doing consulting on the side, keynoting, training for 15 plus years, but about 2 years full time. And now, since I've been doing it, I have the awesome opportunity that I say God has allowed me to get paid to perfect my skill.
mm,
Like I love it. And so now 2.5 years in, you can almost see somebody whose mind is in the way. You can see people who are fighting to keep their limitations. It's like wow, you want to stay where you are, and I'm seeing that it can be difficult to pull somebody
yeah.
out of something that they're fighting to actually stay in. Like I'll ask somebody the question, "Hey, what do you want to do?" And they'll say, I want to do this, but it's hard and it's difficult. I don't know how I'm going to. And they start going into all the things. And I'll stop them and say, hey, why are you giving me roadblocks to what you want to do? I just asked you what you wanted to do. And you're already giving yourself roadblocks before you've even taken a step to go towards what you're actually doing.
Mm,
So I've seen that mindset is way more than I even thought it was. And for me, it's all biblical. I know you and I have the same beliefs that let this mind be in you, which was also in Christ Jesus, right? Think on these things, whatsoever is just, whatsoever is pure. So it all goes back to the Bible for me. Even one scripture that always stood out to me, if believe that you have it and then you shall have it. I
mm,
remember reading that scripture the first time. I said, wait a minute. Not so if you believe you have it, then you'll actually have it.
mm,
So you don't wait till you have it to believe you have it. And if you believe in your mind that you have it, then you'll actually have it. So then having the belief is a part of actually having it. And
mm.
so I'm seeing people's minds. I'm seeing on the other side of the aha moments when somebody's mind opens up and it's like, whoa, I never saw that. And I'll see somebody's mind completely open to the possibilities of what they can do. But at the same time, I've seen some people who are in where they are and they won't even let you pull them out, but they don't want to be there. Like that's difficult for me.
That's tough.
You don't even want to be there and you won't let me help you get out of where you are. Yeah, that's tough.
Maxwell has, the he talks about the law of the lid, right?
Mm-hmm.
That, if on a scale of 1 to 10, if you're a leader and you're a 5, like you're not going to we to our earlier point, you're not going to be able to lead and attract sixes, sevens, and eights.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
the like if you're a 5, you're probably going to be coaching threes and fours. If you have somebody that's a 7 or 8, you're not going to keep them for very long.
Yeah.
So
That's right.
so the question is, you don't have to stay at that level. Are you willing to do what you need to do to lift the lid on your own development, your own potential, to get from
Right.
5 to a 7,
Right.
get to a 7
Right.
to an 8, an 8 to a
Yep.
9, right? But so often, um, Don Miller talks about, and he just brings it out. It's been around for a long time, but the four characters in every great story, every great movie, you see them in every kind. You can just kind of put every movie you want. There's the victim, the villain, the hero,
Mm-hmm.
and the guide. And often the hero starts out as the victim,
Mm-hmm.
and so all of a sudden it's the bumbling kind of like, I don't know exactly what to do, where to go.
Mm-hmm.
You're kind of like the victim is like, it's not victim to like violence, it's a victim energy. This is my
Yeah.
lot in life. It's the
Mm-hmm.
lid that's on me, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm never going to be able to lift the lid, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then somebody comes along, a guide comes along and sees the potential in you, and you go, no, you can lift that lid. And that victim then turns into the hero because they have a guide. But there's always a villain in the
Yeah.
story. The story is no good unless there's a villain. There's a bomb going to go off. There's an Apollo Creed. There's Darth
Yeah.
Vader. There's always, there's the Chiefs, right?
There you go.
There's the Denver Broncos. So there's always a villain in there. But often we can actually play all of those roles
Mm-hmm.
person. We can play the victim, and then we can quickly move to the villain, because the villain tries to push people down, keep people small, push themselves up, right? And we can
Mm-hmm.
actually go personally. We can see it in family relationships. I've seen it in family relationship, in work
Mm-hmm.
relationship, where all of a sudden, well, my department, we only get this,
Mm-hmm.
we only get that, so that's why we're not doing better. But then all of a sudden they could turn into the villain, because now all of a sudden they are being hurtful towards somebody else or their
Mm.
department, right? And then they want to
Yeah.
be the hero, and the hero is, well, let me fix it,
Yeah.
right? All of those are, if we don't understand it, can be really toxic kind of leaders.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
man, when you think about lifting the lid, we
Yeah.
we and here's the thing, I'm always trying to pay attention to my own self, and I try to help others, is like, pay attention to the victim energy that you're saying, that you're having every day.
Yeah.
If you're saying, I can't do this, or I'm never going to be able to do this, that's victim energy.
Mm-hmm.
And
It
to your
is.
point, man, that mindset of positivity, of like believing it, it's
Yeah.
it's a powerful thing.
Yeah. It's way more than a lot of people actually think. And you know what? I got to give Sister Hennings. You talk about that law of the lid. So Pastor Roger Kennings, Bishop Roger Kennings, actually in the area, if people familiar in the area
Yeah.
here, we went out to eat with him years ago, and I remember her asking me. So I do praise and worship here and there, and when I go, I'm just full on. I got one gear. I go from gear 1 to 5. Right? Don't ever do that to your car. You'll tear your clutch up. But when
Yeah.
I'm just gone. And she asked me at that dinner, she was like, man, now she almost made a statement. She said, when you do praise and worship, you just go. And I was like, yeah, I just got one gear, 1 to 5. She responded and said, that's good, because you can never be on the level of the people that you're leading. And I
Mm,
was like, she said, if you're at 80, then they're going to be at 70. They're
mm,
never going to be on the level. She's like, leading praise and worship. And she taught me something there. If you want the people to be on 100, you got to go 120.
mm.
She's like, because they're never going to be on your level.
Yeah.
They're always going to be beneath that. And so when I find leaders saying they're not giving 100%, my thought is, are you giving 120? Because
Mm.
you can't give 100 and expect 100.
Yeah.
They're only going to give 80 or 90 because there's no room for them to actually go up. And I do think that
Mm.
pushes us as leaders
Yeah.
to make sure that we're making room. God showed me this years ago, and I'll never forget it in the dream. Grace and Mercy Productions was one of my companies, and he showed me at the top of the stairs, and everybody was on a stair behind me all the way down, and we were facing up. And God said to me, there's no room for them to take a step up unless you take a step up. And he said, if you want them to step up higher, then you got to go higher.
Mm.
And that never left me. And then when she said that to me as well, it was like, I can't ever expect somebody to be on that level. I got to always expect them to be just beneath me. And if I want them to go up, I have to give them room by me going up myself.
Man, that's great. I love that. It's so, man, it's so true. Um, and I think, for the leaders out there, when we think about like kind of our expectation of those that we're leading,
Hmm.
that's why I truly believe that we need to spend more time on who we're becoming than
Hmm.
what we're producing or how we're performing.
That's good. That's good.
Who is the leader you're becoming? Not just as a leader what you're producing. That's important. We need to
Hmm.
produce. We need to perform well.
Hmm.
Right? But who we're becoming is so important. And we spend so little time actually thinking about that, cultivating that, thinking about like, yeah, how am I showing up? How am I becoming? What's the kind of leader that I'm becoming?
Hmm. Hmm.
And I think that, when we talk about like really holding ourselves accountable, like am I just do I see the people that I'm leading as an ends to a means to an end? Like, are they just helping us get uh to a higher sales or higher numbers, which it's all part of growing business. But if we as a leader, if we're value centered, then we will check our motivation when we get frustrated,
Hmm.
when people are not maybe developing or doing like to the speed that we wish they would.
Hmm. Hmm.
Right? There's that balance. You're never going to be able to get to fixing all of that. There's
Yeah.
this dance that we have as leaders of like, and sometimes we just have to check ourselves. Like, I know I'm frustrated, but I'm leading a bunch of 20 somethings
Hmm.
and you're 40 something. Listen, you just got to wake up every day knowing that you're going to be frustrated.
Yes, sir.
Right. And if you
Yeah.
and if you think that you're going to be able to not be frustrated
Uh,
leading a bunch of 20 somethings, then I don't know
yeah.
what you're smoking, but you need to go get something better.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Uh-huh. Hmm.
And I think just helping leaders like reset the mindset, like, yeah, it is exhausting because these
Hmm.
are people who are developing.
Yeah.
Like somebody was exhausted with you
Hmm.
in your 20
Hmm.
something years,
Exactly.
30 somethings. Like, man, Carlos, this is great, man. I so appreciate, you coming on. Man, we're gonna have to come back and pick up our conversation. As we wrap up, what's one thing that you'd say to a leader right now who's maybe feeling stuck, disappointed, frustrated where they're at? Like, we've all felt those kind of feelings, like at different seasons of our life. What's one or two things that you would encourage them to do to take their next best step?
For me, one one of two things. One would definitely be that trying to understand that what you're going through is going to be a great tool for you in the future. And knowing that while you're going through it, it may not feel like that and it may not feel good. You may not understand it. You may be frustrated. You may be angry. It may feel like the end of the world. It may feel like the most difficult thing that you're ever done. But at some point in your life, it's going to be a tool that you're going to be able to use to help lead somebody else,
Mm,
right? It's that pressure is designed to help you be able to understand what somebody else is going through because you went through it.
mm,
So my brother, one of my brothers, he went through cancer, battled cancer. Thank God he's cancer free today. And I remember him telling me that when people told him that it was going to be okay and they never experienced cancer,
Mm,
it didn't hold much weight.
mm,
But he said when people who had been through cancer and they told him the experiences that he was going through, and they remember feeling like what he felt like, they remember feeling like they were losing their faith, they remember not being able to taste certain foods, they remember going through the chemo and radiation, and they could explain what he was going through
mm,
and stand on the other side and say, you're going to make it through this. He said it meant so much more because he knew they understood where he was,
yeah.
right? Some stuff
Mm,
you don't know unless you go through what they say, the only way to is through. And I believe if I understood that some of the things I went through was going to help somebody else, it would have at least gave me another push to go through it. Would it
yeah.
have changed what I was going through? Maybe not. It probably wouldn't have made it even feel better. But I would tell that person that one day you're going to be able to stand in front of somebody and tell them what you went through,
Mm,
and it's going to pull them through because they're going to know that you understand what they're going through
yeah.
because of the way that you're talking about what you went through. In that same vein, I think it's this thing called the law of one nail, and I just tell the story concise, pretty short. But they said one nail, in order to make one nail, like a hammer to a nail, you got to have people who are getting the iron. Somebody's working this iron ore maybe out of some place where they're digging it out, right? And so there takes people for this, and those people have to work for a company, right? Those people who work for the company, there who are getting these materials for the nail, they're working for a company. They got to have clothes, so somebody's got to be able to make clothes for them. Those same people have to have food, so somebody's got to have a restaurant or a supermarket for them to have food.
Mm,
And that same person has to have a house. So
mm,
somebody's got to make a house for that person to live in to be able to eat the food and wear the clothes and go to this job. And the person who was telling the story said, the reason why you feel that pressure is because of that one nail. That one nail is more than just one person. That one nail is responsible for creating all of these things
mm,
that come from the person who's getting the one nail. As a leader or as a person who's going through something, it's really not just about you.
mm,
The pressure is because of all of the people who are connected to you and who are going to benefit from what you're going through. I didn't know that while I was going through it, but I see it after I've gone through it that me making it through doesn't just benefit me, it benefits a lot of people who are connected to me, and I have something that may be connected to their purpose as well. So keep pushing, man. Keep pushing, please.
dude, that's so good. All right, last question. You're getting ready to be introduced on stage,
Uh huh.
15, 20,000 people.
Uh huh.
Welcome to the stage, Carlos V. Spencer. What's your walk-up song?
Man, my walk up song is really the theme that you just said. Let's go, let's grow, let's get it. My cousin, God rest his soul, actually wrote the theme music.
Mm,
It's on iTunes. Look up Carlos V. Spencer.
okay.
Let's go, let's grow, let's get it, let's get it. And Julius actually has a rap verse on that same
Come
song.
on.
So whenever I go somewhere, that's the song I have them play,
Dude, that's
and
not
I
right.
have
That's
the
not fair.
crowd.
I got my own walk-up song.
And the audience gets into it every
Oh yeah.
time, man. We're let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go, let's get it. I'll send it to you, man. Let you hear
Oh
it.
man.
But yeah, if I have my choice, it's a song my cousin wrote, and he actually passed away a couple years ago. And it's also a way for me to allow his voice to be heard throughout the world. And that's really to that law of the one nail. That's one of my driving factors is to push this gift out to do what God's called me to do, but also because I want people to hear his voice, man. So
Yeah,
yeah, I love it. I have my own one, man, and I get a chance to play it most times when I come out on the stage somewhere.
that's awesome. Carlos, man, thank you so much for joining us today. Man, I so appreciate it. And I know that we're going to have to we're gonna have to have a part two at some point. So,
Mhm.
hey, if you were listening today and if anything resonated with you, man, share this with somebody. Come on,
Mhm.
go on YouTube, subscribe, give us a thumbs up so we know that that what we're doing here is making an impact on folks. So until next time, let's go, let's grow, and let's get it.
Yes, sir.
All
Yes,
right,
sir.
peace.
All right, now.